Hello and welcome. I am finally getting the tutorial for my flower. Ignore, this has been my demo book. Anyway, I want to start with this tutorial is done, it's a remake. The designer who originally made this is Chippy and Milo on YouTube. She created it using simple stories and a couple of other paper lines. It's just fabulous. This is not my design. This is not my project. It's a remake tutorial. So I just want everybody to know. In no way, shape, and form am I claiming this is mine, because it's got some fabulous features to it that she's just a wonderful crafter anyway. And she provided the tutorial free. And she does hers to music. She doesn't speak. So I redid it because I had a lot of requests. And Ginger from My Sister Scrapper has been making it. So this is the one that's on my Country Craft Creations Coffee Talk with Country Craft Creations. But it's been very difficult to find, and some of you I know are not on Facebook. So today when I make this, one thing I want to let you know is I'm not going to remake it with Saucy, because I have made tons of them with Saucy, as you can see. And I'm going to be using French Country. Now, I will be matting. We'll do some of the matting, but I'm not going to do any of the decorating. But I will walk you through matting and get stuff done. So let me just show you really quick. You'll have plenty of space for your recipe cards. And I can't tell you how many it will hold. Like I've explained before, when people ask me how many pictures will it hold, I don't know, because it depends on how you cut your pictures. It depends on how many you want to put in here. You know, you can stuff a ton in the pockets, so it's totally up to you. Now, we'll have these cute little hingeless pages is what I absolutely love, because I also did a big tutorial on hingeless pages. I love hingeless pages. You'll also have this nice large pull-out mat in 2 of them, and recipe cards will fit in here. And you can actually put a couple more pages, so that would be up to you if you want to make more. Now, on this side, and which credit goes totally to Chibi, see, these are the recipe card ones. I'm going to be using the split that have the 3x4, so you can put your recipe cards. Now, I have fit 4 recipe cards in each pocket on mine, and then you'll have a full sheet, which you can put any combination of plastic sleeves you like. They are 6x8, and that is one of the reasons for these measurements of this album. Now in the back, again, you can lay down more, but I will be making a pocket. Then we have this nice large accordion pocket. Okay, and I'll be using some large magnets. And again, you can put more down there. You can actually make this album with any design you like, any paper. It's just adorable with whatever you choose. Okay, measurements. Now, it's best if you have yourself a notebook. I have one. This is where all my notes go when I'm making projects, because I don't write tutorials. And once you get into writing tutorials, that is where you do get charged. But I'm going to give you the measurements, and I'm going to give you some suggestions. So when you're cutting your chipboard, it is 8 7/8 of an inch long. Remember, if you're using 6x8 plastic sleeves, this is the reason for the length. If you're not using plastic sleeves and just want to make 2 sets of pages, you can make this book any size you like. Cut your length first on all 4 pieces, because we need 4. Then when you turn this around, cut all 4 pieces at 7 1/4, because you need 2 of them. That's 8 7/8 by 7 1/4. And you will now get that 1 1/4 inch hinge that you need, because we need an 8 7/8 by 1 1/4. Now the nice thing, like I said, if you cut this 8 7/8, which you have to, and you're 7 1/4, oh, but I did use 8 1/2 by 11 inch chipboard. So cut your chipboard. If you are only using 12 by 12, this will only work if you're using 8 1/2 by 11. Forgot to mention that. Then you'll get 1 1/4 by 8 7/8. Cut the next 2 pieces down to 6 3/4. Now see, if you cut it at 8 7/8 by 7 1/4 first, see that 1/2 inch? Then you'll cut that off, because you need 2 of them, and it makes it easier when you're putting it in a cutter. I use the Dolly 550 and it cuts my chipboard beautifully. So you'll need 2 of them that are 1/2 inch by 8 7/8. Okay, then you need 3 sheets of cardstock. I'll be wrapping mine in brown. I like the brown with the French country on this one. And it's 10 7/8, and I left it 12. Then you're going to need 5 plastic sleeves if you're going to use sleeves. If not, you can just make a double set of these pages. So let's start with our smaller pockets. So we need 2 of these that are 7 1/4 by 4 1/4 inches wide. Then we need 2 5 1/4 by 6 3/4. I will type these measurements up and have them in the description. Then you need 2 7 1/4 by 8 5/8. 2 9 5/8 long by 6 3/4 wide. Then our hinge is 8 3/4 by 5 7/8. So we can put all these smaller pieces away. And there'll be 2 more pockets that I have to cut on camera. But I'll go ahead and give you the measurements because I want to use my scrap pieces for that. So they're both 7 1/2 inches, and there's a good scrap piece. You should have 2 scrap pieces when you cut it off your cardstock, possibly, or from your pages. One is 4 3/4 by 7 1/2. One is 7 1/2 by 2 1/4. Now the reason I don't want to cut these yet, we're doing the inside of a cover, and it's possible the sizing might be off just a little, so I wait to do those. Okay, let's get started. Let's push everything aside except for our 10 7/8 by 7 1/4 inch, 3 pieces to wrap our cardstock. And I don't think we'll need 4. I think we just need 3 pieces. Like I said, it's been a couple months since I made these. So we're going to start. This is my 10 7/8 inch side. I'm going to add my score tape so that we can join our pieces together. Oh, that's not, yeah, I use these. I love these. They come from Harbor Freight. You get a bunch of different ones, but I love the crooked neck because see how it just grabs that? You get like 4 or 5 in a package for $3.99. Excuse me, much cheaper than scrapbook stuff. I love my Harbor Freight for tools. And I'm sorry if I hit the camera. I just need to move those plastic sleeves. You do need room. This gets long. Down they go. Make sure we're all joined together. And now on the 10 7/8 inch side. And I really do. I took Zyrtec, so let's see if it'll kick in here really soon. The garden's in bloom, the flowers are in bloom, and it's great to be crafting. I love crafting. I'm not one of those that craft in the winter. I love summer crafting. I seem to get more creative in the summer when the sun's shining. I mean, I still like to craft in the winter, but there's just something about summer and fall. And now, what we're going to do, I love my quilting ruler here, and I have the 16-foot desk, and it's never long enough. Yeah, it's long. Okay, let's grab our pieces. One thing I like is that I actually have the book here, so it does help me to remember where everything goes. So right now we want our 6 3/4 inch pieces. Let me zoom out, see if we can't get a better look on everything. Get it up higher for you. No, oh, that's out all the way. Okay, sorry about that. I don't want to adjust the camera because it'll make us all dizzy. So I'll make sure okay, stay. I know, I hate to adjust the camera on. So I'm going to stop and we'll be. Okay, let's give that a try. So this is the 6 3/4. And I'm not worried about where I'm placing it on the edge right now. I just want to get our placement out. And then after that, our little 1/2 inch goes down. Now the back cover, the 2 back covers basically are considered are wider, 7 1/4. Then in between our covers, this is what makes it a front and a back basically, is our 1 1/4. Then we need the 7 1/4. Yeah, it's long. I know. 7 1/4. 1/2 inch. Excuse me. Again, like I said, I'm really sorry. I'll quit saying I'm sorry too. I know that's irritating. So once you get these laid out, oh goodness, more room, more room. We are going to actually just start working. I'm going to kind of keep things where they are, and I'll tell you why. There we go. Actually, we can move. I like my seams where my paper is joined together pretty much behind my widest piece of chipboard as much as possible. At least looks like we're going to get it about not quite half, but enough, because we want to make sure this end piece. Okay, so we're going to start now. We're actually going to just start from the right, this left-hand side, my full left-hand side. Usually I like to start somewhat in the middle, but when it's this long, we're not going to. So I've already I've already cut my score tape sheets. This also helps make the video go faster for you. So I took the back off. These are wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. And they do save your roll. Even though, I mean, you have to pay for this. And I think they're $1.85 a sheet. Just to give you an idea. Now for this little guy, I will just use my 3/8 inch. I'll wait till we get there. Now this is my 7 1/4. And the sheets come 8.5 by 11. And they're really nice. You can cut them right down. Now on this guy, so I have these pieces left over when I cut them. And this will probably hang over the edge a little bit, but it's okay. You can either cut it. It's score tape, so it works the exact same way as the sheet. You can also rip it. I cut it in my cutters. Works no different than score tape. larger sheet. You know, a lot of crafters don't realize you can also punch with your shape punches, your score tape sheets. And then it makes it so you can put it right on the back of the paper, punch it, and then the shape is now a sticker. So it's good for a lot of stuff. Let's move that up so I know which one I did. And our last one. And it really takes, I'm telling you, just this little bit saves your wrist a lot. And then your album covers lay so nice. I don't know how many, you know, we've learned over the years, and I don't know how much I've, you know, put score tape just around the perimeter and then glue or something in the middle and then have my covers just like wallpaper, bubble. And it's no fun when you've gone through all this work. Okay, we are going to start down here. Basically, I am placing this bigger piece. Remember how we, I know it's long. All right, we had it somewhat, that's where I've put them together. I'm not worried about how much is at the end because we're going to be cutting that off to our needs. So that just kind of gives me a visual. 6 3/4, 7 1/4. Now my quilting ruler. Love it for the size. I'm going to put it at 1 inch. Now we can just, oops, better lay this out a little better. Okay. And okay, now I know I need to place this at the 2 inch mark because this is level, and 1 inch now is at the bottom because see I can put my forearm on it and it just really keeps it still. You'll never have a crooked cover again. But I know there's other ways. This is how I like to do it. Even when I've scored or done other things, I can't get my cover straight unless I'm using this. 1 inch. There's my 2 inch mark. So I want my cover down at that end. And down it goes. Now, if you also burnish from the back side, you got to push hard. You'll avoid marks on the front of your paper. So when we turn it over and start burnishing on the paper, that you might start seeing marks. Okay, 1/4 inch. Now, I've tried this album with less than 1/4 inch, and I didn't like it. The paper actually did crack on the edge because I was using a goodness, what do you call it? The craft colored of cardstock, and it did crack because you've got to still have, even with this 1/2 inch, you need this 1/4 inch. I'm holding my ruler with my thumb in my hand to keep that 1 inch straight. And I'm just going to lay it up next to my score tape. Then 1/4 inch again. Now, don't be afraid either to use the score tape sheets. I know it looks like a big surface of sticky stuff. You may even feel it's over. But I'll tell you what, once you do this, you're going to notice how much nicer your covers are. Again, this is one of my Harbor Freight favorites. It's the plastic spatulas because they're rigid. It's over by the paint department. And they're great. 1/4 inch. Don't worry if that's a little long. It won't hurt nothing. Now we need our 1 1/4. Where's he at? Okay. I know a lot of you have watched my tutorial, so you already know that this score tape in the middle also serves another purpose. It's going to grab your cover, and it really holds it down nice. Okay, 1/4 inch score tape. Now make sure you're getting the bigger of the two, because we need the 7 1/4. My ruler down. My arms can rest on it. Right up next to your score tape. Quarter inch. 1/2 inch. Uh-oh, oh, shoot, man. Oh, okay, I just about had a heart attack. For some reason, it just didn't look like enough space. Sorry. You know that moment when you're thinking, oh my gosh, what have I done? But that would have been an easy fix. We could have added on another piece of paper. Okay. Ruler down. Get a hold of this more at the top. So I take the bottom and hold it. And down she goes. And that is off. Sorry. You can see it's too short. That piece won't hurt a thing. Okay, I don't know what I did there. Let me check the length. I think we're just a hair off. Yeah. Okay, at the bottom of the ruler, close to the tape, that's better. It's too long. Now it's still strong because that piece is down there, and it won't make a difference at all. 1/4 inch. This one I got to put tools away so that I'm not running out of space. And then our 7 1/4 inch. Okay, now this side we won't have to cut. This side we need to turn over. And so I'm going to take it down to 1 inch. For this, I won't put it in my cutter. I'll just use my blade. Right now, I'm just going to move my score tape out of the way. And now, this is leaning over my shoulder. What I'm going to do is now just push my cardstock against the chipboard, and I like to push down against the chipboard. Kind of helps break those fibers. I'll just lift it up. Repeat. Everybody, you know, I know you have we all have our own ways. So whatever works best for you. This linen cardstock is quite durable, let me tell you. So it does take a little extra breaking of the fibers. Now, I'm going to take my bone folder on these seams. And I'm just doing a little bit of a sawing effect. And if you're using a good quality cardstock, you have to do, well, you should anyway. It's going to help, hopefully, whatever cardstock you're using. Okay. Now, if you notice when you brought these guys together, and you can just kind of make your square, you've made those squares. And what we're going to do is we're going to cut. I'm just going to go down here. And yes, I went to the chipboard. I'll tell you, this is so much easier. And then I'll show you how we figure out any hangover. I just think it's so much easier than figuring out how far away from your chipboard. Now, when you get to that corner of chipboard, see, I'm right there. You can angle that off too. We're going to be doing that anyway. So, see, I have that square. You'll get a nice cover on your chipboard. And there'll be no more of this. Oh my God, I got it too short. Okay, so for instance, when you fold this over, then you fold this over. Do you see what I mean? Fold this over. And when you fold these over, now, here's where I want to show you. You'll see if there's any that needs to come off. Do you see that little bit right there? So what I did is I just cut it so that there was no hangover. So I went like this and like this. And I do have a little tiny spot there, but I'm not worried about it because the cardstock will cover and you can't even see it. So I will be using some glue for this along with the score tape. And first thing we're going to do is remove these. This is actually going to help pull that chipboard or cardstock down. It actually helps form your edges. I just really like doing it this way. So for this, I will be using our 1/4 inch and 1/2 inch. And I like to take my 1/2 inch just along each one of these. And then the 1/4 inch on the chipboard, because see this empty space, it will help hold that down even better. And the thing is, with a recipe album, you're going to use it a lot, hopefully. It's supposed to be used. So the more help you have that on that cover holding it down, the better, I think. And if you've gone through all this trouble, you certainly don't want to have to do any repair work. Or I don't. So, because remember, your way may be absolutely fantastic, So you just continue what you are comfortable doing. Okay, now I'm going to go along the top of my chipboard. Okay, this end isn't the computer, it's just the other end of the chipboard across it, like we did. Pretty much done with the score tape. And you just go along your edges, making sure everything is down. And all that work, and now we're going to remove everything, all of the backing. Can't get a hold of that piece. There we go. Okay, I'm sorry, the sand is not in the camera, but I just took the score tape off like we did. Now I got to be careful with bending because of all the score tape that's exposed. Okay, I'm going to use a cloth, possibly with the glue. Just getting my glue open. And it just doesn't want to incorporate. My glue's probably in shock. I didn't use it at all yesterday. Okay. All right. So with my art glue along the top of the chipboard, not only is this going to help the very top of your chipboard, it's going to lay down nice and flat on there. Helps to weten those fibers just a little bit, especially if you're using the linen cardstock. Now, one thing to remember, if you think of paper as a fabric instead of paper, you're going to know you need to pull, just like when you're sewing, to get it over the top of that chipboard nice and taut. You want it to be tight. You don't want to end up with any spaces between the chipboard and the paper. So I grab it and I'm pulling down just like it was fabric. And in some ways, it is fabric. I like this bone folder for that. Yes, I have about 5 bone folders. They're all different materials, different reasons. And I'm going to go along the top. Make sure everything's nice and smooth. Now see that nice smooth top? See that seam that didn't pop? Everything just looks beautiful. Except for we got a little space there. Just smooth that out. There we go. Oh, you know, that's the end where my half inch was a little bit off. Okay, let's repeat. Give that a second to work. Okay, let's grab it and pull. And you may say, this is silly to pull, but if you've ever had a space up there at the top, you'll understand totally. Don't worry about anywhere, there you go, because you can work those out if it kind of buckles or creases because it'll work out. And then it's going to be hidden anyway. Grab and just pull down. Pull hard. There we go. If you get any glue on the end, I did. Just have it cleaned up. Okay. Now, if you, like I said, if you've never worked with the artisan cardstock that we sell, it's linen. It has a texture. You're missing out. Yes, it's a little more, not bad, but expensive. It's worth it. I'm telling you, because look at that. You want that smooth, seamless. It's just gorgeous. Okay, I'm going to check one more time to make sure my corners, nothing's going to be hanging over the edge. This one's a little bit easier than the longer side. I can just use my bone folder. And when you push it up there, you'll see the glue, how it lays on top. Nice and smooth, like that. Makes you feel like your work, those little boo-boos aren't going to matter because the work is so fabulous. When you get done, you're like, wow. Just the little tricks, pulling it over, using the glue just makes a world of difference. Okay, now we have to form what's in here. I actually like my Fiskars, really inexpensive, lightweight bone folder for this, because it has this rounded kind of butted end, I call it, and then I can push without any worries. I'm pushing that paper right in there, so it's going to indent. But the score tape's going to grab a hold of it. And then it's not going to come out. It's not going to cause any problems. Now on these 1/2 inches, okay, you're going to see probably some buckling like that. So grab your bone folder. Let's help it. And then just kind of form it with your hands. Don't be afraid. Well, if you know your paper is a cracking paper, just be careful, but don't be afraid to help form it around that edge of chipboard. Okay, that's how you're going to get this squared. Like so. And move to the center. By then, see, your album's going to start just falling into line. Now the same thing. I want to just kind of repeat because these are smaller spines and sometimes they just need that extra help right along the edge. Easier to turn to work. Ensure that's down. And now we can repeat with the 1/2 inch side. Now if you get your bone folder in there too, right up on the edge of your chipboard, when you're pushing in that paper, that will help. And you can see I'm pushing. I would never dare do that with another paper. Okay, let me just form it. Do this side again. More up on the chipboard. Oh, that was my accident side anyway, so it's going to be fine, just a little. Now, a couple things you can do. You can tie this closed with the ribbon. I will be using magnets, but I won't put the magnets in. Oh, I could put them in because we're going to do 3 magnets. But I'm going to wait so I have more of a flat surface because now we need to cover the inside. So now the inside, it depends on how much of the border you want around. I just go for the about 1/8 of an inch. So there we go. So our chipboard's 8 7/8. So I'll cut my inside piece at 8 5/8. And we can just set this aside, but I only cut the first one to make sure. Well, I'll cut the first one to make sure it is 8 5/8 that I'm wanting. And I'm going to cut 3 of those. Okay, when you lay it down inside, check to make sure you're happy with the amount that's going around. And if you are, you can go ahead and cut your other 2 pieces. And make sure we have everything the same. If we don't, you'll need to trim it. Okay, I'm going to start with the first piece. And I don't join these together. Sorry. What am I thinking? I lay them down. I want to make sure that when I'm laying them down, that nothing is going to stop in a seam. Like, let me show you. Like down here sometimes. Now, oh, this is what I did. That's right. I put my 2 end pieces and then I did the center because I wanted these parts seamless. That's, see, you forget. So what I'm going to do is take my 8 1/2 inch piece. Of score tape. Now keep your fingers back there, and I need to show you a different way. This is your first time using these, because you do want these side to side as much as possible. And then on the little area, I'll just put a little tiny line of glue. And then down here on this edge, I'll just use my square tape. The main thing is, I'm so sorry, is that we don't have really anything sticking out of the edge. Now that's one reason I don't use my Xyron anymore. Things were just messy on the edges, and I just don't like that. But I love it for other things. So for my next one, now, I should have showed you. If you're nervous about using it, just take off a corner. Then lay it down. Okay, once you are comfortable where it's at, you can reach in, see, grab the back, and lay it down. And until you're, comfortable, just go slow with it. And then you're not going to be able to live without it when doing your covers. The amount of time it saves is just amazing. I used to hate to do my covers. I really did. Now I don't. Okay, I'm going to start by throwing everything on the ground. Now it's the same way with this. If you're uncomfortable, go ahead and start a corner and take that piece off. You know, I have to see something. This is really weird. Have you ever heard voices from your phone? I had a video going in the background. Crazy, huh? And I didn't know it on my phone. Thought I heard somebody talking. Okay, now you'll be able to lift up. Oh, I pushed him down. Voila. Oh, that's the glue on my... So I'll get some marks, but we'll be covering this with pattern paper and have some glue on there. Turn it around and let's repeat. Same thing. Once again, make sure it's exactly where you want it. Keep your finger back there. Down it goes. Lift up. And it's down. Centerpiece. That's the piece that went flying. Okay, we don't need all of this. So I'll just kind of place it, oh, about inch and a half. And cut it off. Now for this, I've got a lot of score tape pieces left. So this is what I'm going to use. There's no sense in cutting a new one. Rip that off since. I know, I'm not the neatest crafter in the world, but it's paper. So I just don't want to invest in all the extras people will say to get. You start adding in all those costs, and it's just paper. So I do rip things off. And usually there's no permanent damage done. So I apologize if it drives you crazy. Still didn't cut enough. I'm stuck. should have measured that one too. Now my main thing is just getting some pieces on the edge. And I can just save all of these other little guys for another project. Sorry, just making some room here. Oh, this one I can pull up. Okay, well, after this, I'll take a break, come back to filming, and get myself some Cardstock. So you don't have to listen to this. Okay, I did take everything off, so you want to make sure that we're going to be meeting at the top and bottom. And one thing, there we go. And we need to now form our hinges. Oh, glue. Good thing that just comes up. Oh my goodness. And we're going to wash our tools. The problem, that's the only thing that the art do. It's kind of flaky on stuff, except for paper. It works great on paper. So we want to find our spaces here and then gently push it down. See how it's grabbing my score tape? Beautiful. Repeat this side. I'm just going to help push it up. And even grabbing this piece and pulling. Center. And gently, gently, there we go. That's how we get it so it wants to play. There we go. Now see how nicely that's coming together? Okay, let's turn it over so it's easier to work with on this side. And this side. Now don't be afraid to work it. You've got to get it loosened up because of the shape. There, and see now it's laying flat. So just kind of work it back and forth. Like I said, my paper won't break, so I'm not afraid of it. And I've got it laying nice and flat, and when it comes together, So we may have to do the same with your hinges back here, your hinge. Okay. There we have it. So we'll need, if you're going to use magnets, I'm going to use the basic gray large. And need the small. Let's see what this one might be. So I'll have to get some more magnets, and I'll go get the cough drops, and we'll be back and finish our magnets. Okay, one thing that I did different when I did the video on our Facebook is I did the covering of this part, and we matted here. And because you can mat these any way you like in your covers, like I said, I won't be doing that. Actually, I can make this whole thing without matting, to be honest with you, and then you can mat it with anything you like. It's kind of a video tutorial I threw in there, and I actually have the Master Detective and a Yankee Doodle tutorial to finish, so I don't want you to feel like I've left you hanging, but I'll show the album again at the end, and you can kind of get an idea for your matting. Now, one thing though, we do want to build the inside, and I like to measure just I mean, it's just a tiny hair from the edge, and so my hinge falls at about 7. So I'm actually going to cut my pocket 7.5, but no, we need to cut it 8. Good thing we went back. That measurement was not right. We need to do 1/2 inch scoring on each side. So I'm going to cut it just a hair under 8 inches. So ignore those measurements in the beginning. I'm going to give you these new ones. Oh, yeah, I brought down my, for copying. Okay, for these little guys here. So I'm going to cut them at 8. Hair under 8 by 4 3/4. And I have those 2 pieces. And the second one I'll cut at 8 by 2 1/4. So let me get those cut. So a hair under 8. And we'll adjust if we need to. Okay, 2 3/4. And then this one we want 4 3/4. So you might have to cut a new piece. Or you may have, I got a scrap though. You should have one too. Okay, let's do this. This piece is the pocket, and we don't need a bottom on it. We want it to go all the way through. We're going to go ahead and score this one at the 1/2 inch on each side. And the reason being, this will be an easier piece to replace. For some reason, we need to recalculate our score marks. Bring the cover over. And then we'll put our magnets on too. I didn't go grab a package on my way back in. Oh, we can do that. So I'm going to place it just, see, a tiny bit from the edge. So this is what I'm talking about. Sometimes this is what happens. So it came out to be about 6. And 7/8. And you don't want it in that seam. So let's go ahead and put this in the bone folder. No matter what I do, I can never get these perfect. So now I'm going to score it at 5/8. Just that mark in between the 1/2. 3/4. And what I'm doing is now I've got 2 score marks there, and those won't hurt a thing. But we want to make sure this is going to fit inside and not go in those hinges. And you know what? See, I apologize. Like I said, it's been a couple months since I made this tutorial, so we do need to mat this. This is what the problem is. So grab your paper that you're going to use, and I'm going to grab mine. So for the inside, I'm going to use, this is what I used on the other album. Sorry about the noise. I used the Bow Bunny Double Dot when I was matting the tutorial for French Country, so I'm going to go ahead and use it again. That's what I did. So let's do this. Let's go ahead and mat it. And there we go. That's better. So I'm going to cut my matting about 6 7/8 and then 8 5/8. I know what the issue is here, besides me. So, again, making sure that doesn't go in the hinge. Trim it a hair if you need to. Because it's not fun when your paper ends up in the hinge. Oh, I love that dark at the top. Okay. Now, if that's where you're thinking, let's go ahead and ink our paper. And I did forget this is, yes, we do need to mat a few of these first. So this is, I'm just using the Adobe House. And I used this when I made the French Country tutorial. And it looks really great with the French Country. It has that reddish brown tint. And it's the Prima Color Philosophy. Love it because they stack their magnetic, and I never have to worry about my ink. Okay. Okay. I do use the art glue for matting. That looks fabulous with the brown. Now we can make sure our corners. Now, as I'm looking, see this has a border. So that was the correct measurements. So I'll cut this piece down to 7.5 by 4 3/4, and 7.5 by 2 1/4 is my second piece. So 7.5 by 4 3/4. And 2 1/4. So it is just a small piece. We just want the appearance of that second pocket, but we want our tag to go all the way through. So now we can go ahead and score each piece 1/2 inch. And the bigger piece, you'll score 1/2 inch on the 2 short sides, 1/2 inch on the 1 long side. So we'll do a little matting after all. That. I forgot. That's what Chibi did, so that you don't have to try and figure out that hinge. It's early morning. Okay, we want to go ahead and cut our corners. I like to go straight across. And then I match them, and if anybody needs to be trimmed, easily done. So you have a nice, a nice fit in the camera here. That one fits great. The top, go ahead and miter. And I'm just going to miter the top now. I can get rid of my garbage. Okay, let's open the book. And this is what we want to do. We want to place our pocket. Oh, love that with the brown, with this color. And then this one, so you just want it to go, there we go, on the inside a little bit. So there's no real, hardcore measurement. How far do you want this covered? And then this will determine how far from the bottom this one is. So just using your eye. Eyes are your best. Of course they're your best, but I mean for placement. For you to like the way it looks. There we go. So once you are happy, I like to do a mark. And you'll hear we've got the guys working on the computer cables. So you might hear move it around. They're up in the attic. Nothing weird's going on, I promise. Okay, so that tells me that's where that's going to go. And make sure my marks are up here. And, I'm sorry if I go out of the camera. I take an allergy medicine, so my eyes are kind of yucky, from allergies. And I'm really not drunk or high or anything. I'm just waiting for the allergy medicine to kick in. Good thing I don't have allergies year-round. Seems like once my body adjusts to everything in the air. And we had a bad windstorm last night. And when we sleep with the window open, it's worse. So, but once I adjust, we'll be good the rest of the summer. And I'll be just giving you lots of tutorials. All right, it's down. And our next one, now before I put this down though, I want to really burnish those edges. Oh, there's something I was going to do. So stop. Take that glue off if you've done it. It's one thing I didn't do on my other one. So let me show you. Let's go ahead and place this bottom. Now I'm doing this in my Master Detective because I'll tell you what, it makes a world of difference with your tags. Then you may already do this. Like I said, I'm so sorry you're going to hear some door slamming. And I could turn the video off, but let's let that go. Let me grab the tape. And yes, I left the camera for a moment. Just when you think you have everything in hand and you don't, and it disappears. Your shipping tape or your packing tape or let me tell you, learned this trick, loved it ever since. I know there's a lot of other tricks out there too. And just put it down flat. And you see that? Now our tags will go down flat. Let me grab another piece. I had a roll at my desk. I don't know what happened. Okay, I am keeping it away from, the edge where I'm going to glue down. You won't even know it's there. It's adhered nice and tight. I've been doing so many live tutorials. I got to get back in the swing of doing them for recording, and I am not one that will sit here and edit. I apologize. It's not that I'm just lazy. No, I get excited. Want to get them out to you. All right, let's make sure that's down. And I'm sorry about the workers. They are having to bang on the walls and things to find where the cables are. And now I'm just checking to make sure nothing is glued down. So nice and smooth when I go inside there. I love it. Love it. Okay, there's our pockets. Perfect. No having to figure out to keep them out of the hinges. And thank you, Chibi. Wonderful tutorial. Okay, now we can... Oh, it's okay. We know you. They know we're recording. It's all right. They're like, oh, we didn't know. Like, it's okay. We're okay. I warned you guys about the noise. No problem. All right. Let me open my magnets. Now, the basic grade magnets, large, are fabulous. I do sell them at Country Craft Creations. I live by the owner, so I'm able to pick up the magnets. He won't sell them. He doesn't sell them, I think, one other place. But we're lucky to have me living so close that I can just go pick them up. And he agreed to that. When I found out they were closing, it was heartbreaking when Basic Gray. But they also do fabrics, so they're not like completely gone. And I get to go up to his house and pick up our magnets. And I'm so glad because I've tried a ton of others. I've had others break. I've had them, break under the paper. And you can't fix it. These are just wonderful. Okay, so there's 3 of them. And I do stagger these. It just gives a better hold. And I do want a tight fit, so that's why I'm doing 3. I think the workers are worried that you may have heard them swear. But I don't think the camera picked that up. Okay. Now, let's grab a couple of scrap pieces. This will help too, because this one's a little different when putting it down. And we're going to put a piece of the paper in between. The rest can go in the garbage. Now, goodness, and everything shows up on brown paper. All right, let's bring it up. And let's make sure everything's straight the way you like it. See, it's that middle one that's a little difficult. It may not. Yeah. It's our middle one. It can be a problem. Let those guys grab. So if you have one of these spatulas or something that will reach in, and then kind of pull it. There we go. Woohoo, we did it. I don't want it to be upside down, even so. Now, what I want to do is put some score tape and make sure things are down. That's fine. That go together for a minute. We'll make sure everything looks great. Love it. Okay, let's move on. Let's make our pages. Now for the pages, we can go ahead and set that aside. And let me get our pieces that we started with, or that we cut in the beginning. So we have the two that are 9 5/8 by 6 3/4. Move our smaller ones aside. And this one's our hinge. Okay, that's our hinge. So we're going to start with the 9 5/8 by 6 3/4, 7 1/4 by 8 5/8. Now the 8 5/8 is our base, so we'll just set that to the side. Now on the 9 5/8 piece, let me get in the camera for you. We're going to score each one at 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch, and 1/2 inch, just like we would if we were making a pocket. Oops, half and half. These are actually really fun to make. And like I said, these are kind of built on the Hinge with Page method, and I absolutely love it. And I'm going to do the same thing by putting the tape on the bottom, so my tags don't get stuck inside there. Now what we want to do is grab our base, and I'm just going to fold up my sides. I want to check this side to side. I want to make sure they match. That one looks great. Fold it side to side. And make sure it matches. There's nothing hanging over or needing to be trimmed. And it looks good. So we'll start here. And I'll miter these corners. Get my little scissors for that. Once again, I'll just go across. Go across here. Well, I did exactly what I didn't want to do. That was cut into the corner, but my eyes are so yucky. That will be fine. Nothing's really major or showing. Okay, when we put these down, it'll seem odd to you at first because we want to put it at the top. We need the back for our hinge. Like I said, I am not All of a sudden, my eyes decided to go yucky because of the allergies. Oh, yeah, my backs are fine. I forgot to. Me and the glue. All right. If you've ever had allergy eyes, then you can understand what I'm going through. But we are going to get this video done for you. So what I'm going to do is match them on the side. I'll just grab it because I really want to get that tape in there. Your art glue does not take long at all to dry. And be just a hair too long. Well, there we go. I basically just want it in that area. So I want to really smush that down. So now you have a nice smooth area. So that is a change from what I did in the original video, because that's just something I was shown by a local crafter that she does, and I thought it was just fabulous. I had to share it with you. Darn eyes today. But we will finish. All right, now I do want to take my spatula just to make sure I didn't glue anything down that wasn't supposed to be glued. You know how glue comes out sometimes. And you can basically see me getting it right down in that corner. See, this is squared, and it makes, it's really nice. Okay, you can set that one aside. And now we'll do the same here. Trying not to cut through that intersecting line where our two scores meet. Perfect. Wow. First time. Okay. You already know it fits. We tried it. Adhesive at the bottom. And we'll match the top. That's just going to help keep it still. Clothespins are my favorite. You can even pick them up at the dollar store. Okay. packing tape down. Hi, sis.
The peas are going dead.
Okay.
Connor stopped working because his back hurts.
Oh, okay. We have the grandkids. We've got a bucket of peas from the garden, so they're working hard today.
Yep, we have a lot of peas going.
Yep.
It's like there's like 15 or 100 of them.
Cool. Get me 100 more. Fresh peas for dinner tonight. That will be wonderful.
Yep, with chicken. Ow, ow, ow.
Okay. Let's just make sure that's up tight. It's always nice to have grandkids excited about the garden. Because you get to eat it, they get to pick it, and they're so excited. Sorry, I know there's a lot of interruptions today with this video. Everybody is home and visiting, and so they're curious what I'm doing. They think it's really cool. So they love to come down and see what's going on. Okay, we've got our 2 large pockets done. Let's grab the 4 smaller pieces that we cut that are 5 1/4 by, I believe, 5 3/4. There's 2 of those. 7 1/4 and 4 1/4. So the 4 1/4 are our base pieces, and we're going to do very similar what we just did to the bigger pages. Now, one thing with these, 5 1/4, okay, is your width. We're going to score in 1/2 inch, so that makes it 4 1/4. So make sure this is on the 4 1/4 inch side. There we go. So now this is on, need a stabilizer there, 4 1/4. I mean 5 1/4. We're going to score it half along the 5 3/4 inch side, back to the 5 1/4, and half. So basically you just need 3 sides, 2 long sides and a short side. You don't want 2 short sides, or you've scored the wrong way. See, 2 long and a short. And we're going to be putting these together just like we did the bigger pages. And let's check with our base. Make sure everything looks good. That one looks good. And I find if you push against that score line at the bottom, it helps keep that really straight. Much better than if you're trying to go like this, because the weight of the paper will push against it. And since I started doing that, I haven't had too many crooked score lines. And this piece looks great. So we can move forward. We're going to do the exact same thing that we did with the bigger. We're going to miter the corners, glue on the bottom, making sure we match the tops, because we need that bottom piece for the hinge. And then we'll add, if you're going to add your tape. And I found that the packing or moving tape works better than like score tape. It hasn't seemed to come loose yet in anything. I just want to check my sides. Make sure they're not overlapping. Keeping away from your corner. Yeah, and I have to score this linen paper like that. Okay, we're just going to add to the bottom first. Now you want to match it to the top. Clean up any glue that may have escaped. Oh, I should have cut that shorter. So what I'm going to do is just cut that right off. I don't want it in the way of this gluing down this flap because it may not stick as nicely to the tape as it does to the paper. Move those out. I know that may seem like a little extra work, but I found on the last couple of albums I did, not only is it great extra work, you're not going to be fighting your tags for, you know, they won't go all the way down. You hit that edge, and it's just frustrating. Okay, now we can just fold. What on earth did I just do? Oh, there we go. I grabbed the hinge. That was different. I have a smaller little spatula that comes in that set. See, I'm able to push clear down on those edges, or those corners, to make sure they're nice and square the way we want them. Okay, let's do our next one. Like I said, I apologize. I may act like I'm a little out of it. It's just the allergy medicine. But I know some of you have been asking and asking for this tutorial, and I just really feel bad that you're not on Facebook. And so I have to get it done for you. Okay, done with the coffee. Hopefully that will counteract the effects. Takes a little piece for that very center. I always get the second one down. It's a lot nicer than the first one. See, that's just glue from my fingers. It looks like dead skin when it comes off your fingers if you've ever used the art glue. Okay, let's get our sides up. Clean the tip this time. Glue anywhere. Mine just a hair off. But that's okay. Now, what we want to do is score this. And it's easier for me to score from this side, but you want to get right up against the bottom of the page. So you might have to scoot it over just a hair in your scoreboard until you come to that place so that you can then score. Okay, we're going to do that with all 4 of these. So what I do is I first see if maybe it landed there. Now that one basically did. I just need to sharpen it a little bit because you want to stay against the bottom there. No, go ahead and move it where you need to get in that scoring ridge. Whoops, and you want to be right up next to the bottom of that top pocket page. Do it again. There we go. Not too hard. Better not have gone through. It did not. You know how you had that moment that you think it did? Ah, that would be a killer. Okay, we're going to fold back and score. So now you have your hinge. And you want to fold it back. The openings are, of course, up there. Now, you'll notice these are a little bit longer, and that's for a reason, the way we are going to be putting it on the page. And we have to cut it. Okay, let me just grab my book so that I don't mess this part up. I did that in the original, and it's easy, very easy to mess up. Okay. Oh, did we? Yes, I did. So what I did also, now on these edges, we want to miter them just a little bit so that they'll lay nice under your paper. These guys, so you only need to do a top. And then you need to do this bottom. Try to get those off because they get stuck in stuff. And then this page will do the top and the bottom. See, there's catching on something. I don't want to cut. There we go. Cut into our closed end. Okay. Put the hinge behind. So see, these are going to attach like so. But before we attach these guys, this is where I don't want to make the mistake that I made before. Move your bottom. Okay, these are actually going to go on this hinge. We need to cut this hinge. And so the top is mitered, and this top is mitered, this bottom and this bottom. Now, I would suggest you wait a minute. Let me go ahead and cut this before you cut yours to make sure I'm telling you the right one. Okay. So we're just getting them lined up from top to bottom, and I'm kind of using my computer screen, so if I'm not talking for a minute, that's fine. Now I'm going to take my pencil I'm going to draw a line on that hinge where those guys are. Now you're going to cut it. So what you're going to do is you're going to cut down the middle. Then you're just going to angle each side into the top, which stops at your hinge. So now you have two hinges, basically. You have one that goes this way, so it becomes independent. And that's what you want. Because you want this one to be able to close without this one. or open and close. Now we're going to go ahead and attach this one with this bent backwards, okay, and it's going to attach on top of here. Let's go ahead and just do it on the hinge part because this is longer. We will be putting more adhesive when we attach it to the page. Just put it up to that score line. I probably used a little too much glue. All that will be covered with our pattern paper. Now, you might have a little piece like that. It really isn't going to matter, but if it bothers you, let me turn it this way, you can just trim that off. Yeah, I shouldn't be trimming this right now either. With my allergy eyes. There we go. Now our second one, we're going to do the same thing. Just try and line up top to bottom here. And these guys shouldn't be hitting each other, but if for some reason they are, all you have to do is now miter that hinge part. There we go. Okay, grab your bottom page. So now, this whole unit now, this becomes like a unit, and it's going to lay nice and flat. We're going to glue this now on top of this back page. And here's the beauty of this. You can even make more of these pages. You can add more of these pockets, especially on that front page. The only thing you really can't do with this is embellish a lot because you have absolutely like no gussets. So now I'm going to turn this. So my hinge now is going to be towards me. I am holding these hinges up. And I'm going to place the page right on top of that other page. I'm going to open it up. Yeah, clean up any glue. Let me get a little bit down one. And this is the linen paper, so I can take this. It'll dry and it'll be perfectly fine. And there'll be no glue, no spot, no nothing. Of course, I am going to cover it with paper. So that's now my wet ones. And I use diaper wipes and I let others dry. I have a stack of them that just sit out and dry because they're fabulous. And I see I kind of got that one off just a hair, but not enough to bother me really. And there is your set of pages. And like I said, you can make some more of these hinges. I'd only put like one. And I can show you kind of how that looks when you do a different setup on the pages, because I did this album in a box. And yes, it's going to be my next tutorial. I make these same pages. I don't want to hit the keyboard. And see, this is to give you an idea. So I put a bigger one here, and I will be doing this tutorial. And then there's a page. See, I changed the way these guys are. And actually I put 1, 2, 3 big pages instead of just 2. And then we have 1, 2 of the big ones. And they still lay nice and flat. So we'll be making this one too, because this is a fun one to use your plastic sleeves at the top with. So that tutorial is coming also. Okay, let's get back to this one though. So we now have our pages are ready to put down into our book. Now these will sit right here, and you'll be able then to mat on top of all your hinges. So let's just add our glue, or you can use your score tape. Oh man, the glue today. And you want to keep back about 1/8 of an inch from that hinge. Grab my damp one. The art glue does dry clear anyways, but I don't want my pages sticking together. And then as we mat these pages, they become heavier. And that's what's nice. The weight of our paper will hold them down. I've gotten glue everywhere today. Good thing this will be matted. So there we have the pages. Now we want to make our hinges. Oh goodness. Let's hope I can do this. Okay. Our hinges. Let's grab our 8 3/4 by 5 7/8 of an inch piece of cardstock. All right, we are going to do some scoring. Now on this, we're going to start at 3/8 of an inch. And remember, these are chippies, and there's a reason for this. You want it as an enforcement piece. I can see her point, but in some ways I was like, ugh, it makes scoring so hard, because now we're going to do 1/2 of an inch all the way down. So we did 3/8. 1, 2, 3, 4. You might have to count. So we're going to do 7/8. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm counting because I don't want to mess you up. Then I'm going to do 3/8. So 3/8, 7/8, 3/8, yes, 7/8, 1 3/8. So we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 7/8. That means we're going to do 2 1/4. 2 3/8, and then 2 7/8. 3 3/8, 3 7/8. 4 3/8, 4 7/8, and 5 3/8. That will end it. So let me go over these with you again. So 3/8 of an inch, okay, 7/8 of an inch, 1 3/8, 1 7/8, 2 3/8, no, 2 3/8 and 2 7/8, 3 3/8, 3 7/8, 4 3/8, 4 7/8, and 5 3/8. So not too bad, not too bad. Let's do this. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go along every one of my score lines, just pushing them up and burnishing them. And unless it's me, what can I say? I get confused. I need to do it this way so I can make sure that I don't totally mess it up for you guys. Problem is, I can make it in my head and I can zoom. I get on camera and that's where I start like, oh my gosh. It's like all of a sudden my brain freezes. But I can do them live. And I can just do them. I don't know. See, I'm just pushing down against. Now you will want score tape for this. And you will need score tape for this. Okay, this is that 3/8 of an inch. You do need score tape. And I'll tell you why. Glue will not hold in your plastic sleeve. I've tried it. And if you didn't make this with us in the video, it's very different. So we are going to make each one of these. Each one of these. There's no space in between. Each one will become a hinge. Every single one of these. Okay, we're going to be pushing them back together. So this back side, and we're not going to do anything with this 3/8 till the end. That's where I usually mess up. We're going to add score tape to every single one of these. Every single one. No, every other one. This one is the one where we're going to add score tape to every single to the front. So let's do the front first. And I will be using my 3/8 of an inch. And every single spot. Trying to get it straight. This is what's going to hold your plastic sleeves in. And you can actually make this for any place in an album that you want plastic sleeves, that you have room. Now, Kimmy on our design team, she did a little different. She has a method too. So it's really cool. You can do Kimmy's method, Chippy's method. I really like this. All right. Clean up the edges. See how those are? And you can even put them in a cutter, especially if our eyes are kind of yucky. Clean that baby right up. And yes, they will stick. Now that side didn't do as good, so I'll just push them over because of the stickiness. You know, the video started out fabulous. So now, what we want to do back here is we're going to start. Here's our 3/8 of an inch. We're going to start at the next one. And we're going to go to every other one because we need to be able to pinch these guys together. So we're going to start here. And now we're going to skip one. Go to here. Skip one. This one. Skip one. This one. Skip. Skip. And this one. And clean up. And there we have it. Okay, let's go ahead and remove the backing. Oh, one thing I need to do is just make sure everything's down. I forgot on this side. Okay. I am removing the backing, and if this is your first time making this, don't be afraid. It won't get out of hand, I promise. So what we're going to do now is we're just folding these over. Okay, now you're going to fold You want this now to come backwards. Now watch. It'll kind of do it itself. You fold back and on. Now watch. Now grab both of these, pinch them together. Now this one needs to go down and fold back. Okay. Now what you do is, this one doesn't want to bend for me. Okay, let me bring this up here. So basically, there we go. Just want those two to stick and fold back. Now these are going to start getting tight and so you start making this circle thing. And we're going to pinch together and fold back. It'll kind of go on its own, and you might want to try it first if you're uncomfortable, and take off. Now this last one, pinch together and fold back. Now it's going to hit on that 3/8 of an inch, and yes, the way this turned out, there's a little bit there. And then this side. You can basically choose what side. I always use this side and put this down in my book, and reason being is I'm going to cover this with a strip of the matching paper. I'm going to cut it just a little over 3/8 of an inch, and then I'll just play it on top. So see, this is where I usually make that boo-boo as to remembering which side. But you do want that there as a reinforcement no matter what. So basically, when you're doing this, if you can kind of catch that before you fold it, you won't put it on there. I hope that makes sense. It's something that I just can't ever get right. And it's just one of those things, but it gets covered, so I'm not worried. I'm going to cut that straight across. Okay, make sure that's down. Now, it looks like a half circle. Let's grab our album. Now, when you pinch it together, it's hard to tell which one the 3/8 was on, but it, there it is, it's on the bottom. Now what we're going to do, so we have our pages to the left, and this one's right here. We want this to be about 1/8 of an inch from our hinge, because you don't want it to get in the hinges, of course. I need to turn this a little bit sideways. And I'm actually going to be picking this up so that I can get a better view. Exactly, because you want room. And you don't have a lot. There we go. Trying to get it even top to bottom. And any other time it would be a lot easier than this if I didn't have crazy allergies going on. And you want to firmly put that on. Now this is going to flip open, and you might be like, oh my gosh. Ugh, and I hope I didn't get that too close. I did, but it's staying. Try something. Oh, we'll be fine. Okay, let's grab our plastic sleeves. Now, you can put these in any order you like. I like to put the full ones in the back. And of course, you have to make sure they open at the top. Okay. everything's opening at the top. So these are the little 3x4. And then we have the pocket here. Now, the recipe will have two of the 4x6 sizes. Okay, once you have them in the correct order, we're just going to set these over to the side. Oh, and let's do a little practice thing. So when you put them in, you're going to put it all the way till it touches, and then we'll just smash that down. So we're going to remove the backing. Now you'll be able to lift these because it's plastic and it's not going to quite stick as hard as the paper. But what happens is it sticks once you put it together. And so if you don't get them completely straight, you're okay. So if you notice, you're going to have about 1/8 of an inch top and bottom. And like I said, today's kind of and push them back if you need to. Okay. Hold that one down at the bottom, but it lifts right up. And I want to put that all the way in. And I'll push this down. And stick them together. So let's move to the next one. Again, making sure. Okay, now for this, I like to just match the bottoms. Now, once you do this part, it's pretty hard to get them back together, apart. So that's kind of what makes it permanent. Cute album for travel or anything that you want to do. Pretty much you can tell because those go there. Goodness. I really wish I put those in further. I don't know what happened, but that's okay. Turn this over. Make sure nothing's hanging over the edge. And there you have your plastic pages, and they are a lot of fun. I got mine really close to that edge, a little closer than I'd hoped, but it's not going to actually do any harm, so we're good. And then on this one, you can cut a piece of cardstock. Well, I really did get that stuck on there. I might not be able to. So it's, let me go this way, because we went 3/8 of an inch. cut. I want it to match. I'm just going to mark this one for cutting purposes. Now, one reason I chose to use the Bo Bunny to top that with instead of graphic 45 is it's heavier, and I just think it's going to wear a little better. Light edges. I need to bring that to the side a little, match that up. And there we have that piece. And of course, I did something really dumb. So I'm going to cut a little tiny piece just to sit there at the bottom. Because yes, I cut it just a hair too short. Add a little glue back here. And get glue everywhere. Like I said. There we go. Okay, so now on this one, we're going to do the big pocket here. And we will have to be doing some scoring. Actually, I'm liking it. I love that brown. So we're going to now make our large pocket right here. And I didn't give you those measurements, so let me get those for you. We're going to do the big pockets. Like I said, there, here with me. Okay, this is what you're going to cut. 6.5 by 12, 6.5 by 7, 2 by 7s, and I'll get mine cut right now. And I'm going to cut them out of the brown cardstock. So I'm first going to cut 6.5 by 12. And 6.5 by 7. Now I'm just going to cut one of the scrap pieces. I don't even want to cut those. So I'm going to cut this scrap piece right here. And I'm going to cut it down to 2 inches. Let's get that off. Grab my tacky cloth. There we go. Bring that right up. So this is at 7, and I'll cut this down to 2. And I need another piece. I thought for sure we did. I thought that was 4 inches. It looked like 4 inches, but it's not. And 2. Okay, our 12-inch piece, we need to score this one at 7. How is it? We use tools and then we lose them. All right, I'll be very careful here. Score it. No, I can feel that's just too sharp. Okay, this is crazy. There we go. 7. There we go. Then, the 7-inch by 6.5-inch piece. See, this is going to be part of this, and it's 7. So on the 7-inch side, we're going to score it 3.5. Now on our 2x7s, we need to score these at 1/2, 1, 1.5, and at 1/2, 1, and 1.5. Those become the accordions. Like I said, this isn't my tutorial. There's a couple things I would change, but I left it just like Chibi had done it. Okay, let's fold that piece to give you an idea here. So this is going to come down like so. Then we fold this in half. And why, you know, does she do it this way? I mean, I think it has to do with covering your paper all the way. Then it sits here and folds over. Actually, it goes this way. Then it folds over so that those two meet, so it was solid in the back. And I think that's her reasoning there. And then it has the solid piece here in the back, and you don't have to cover it if you don't want to, because they do basically meet to make one long. That's what I would have changed, but it's still really a good idea. So what I'm going to do is take my stub punch here. I'm going to go ahead and round my pocket, or stub it. I did stubs on this one. And now we're going to do these where I fold in half. Actually, this one I'm going to fold this way. Then in half over. Like I said, I like to push. I hate to push that way, but only way I can get it to go because it's so small. There we go. I feel like sometimes I make things more difficult, and I do apologize. So basically, this is what you want to look like. So up, fold over, together, and down. Okay. So instead of doing the middle, over and back. Now the back side is the short side. The downside is here. Let me show you. See, we're actually going to cut. We have to cut these to match. I feel like I'm really off here on something. I am. I'm really off. Let me see. Okay. So grab your, we're not up, we're just backward. I'm just backwards. Like I said, it was a couple months since I make this. That's why. Okay, so we're actually going to put this in the book. That will make more sense. And I'm going to match it down here where my matting, you know, for the inside that we did. And this is the short piece. So I'll show you here in a second. See, that's the short piece. And we're laying that down. And you're going to go more towards the right side edge. It will fold down like so. And there's the short piece. Okay, now that's better. So when we put this down, so we want this piece down here on the edge. Now I'm going to go ahead and trim mine just on the corner, from the corner down. So that when this comes up, and you still may have to trim it just a hair. If it's over, just go ahead and trim it. But if it's not, it looks fine, and mine matches top to bottom, then you can go ahead and glue this down. Right to the edge of that short piece of paper is where you want this. And of course, mine's too far. Like I said, this is the part of the construction I would have changed, but it's not mine. So I'm actually just going to match them here. I don't want it, there we go, sticking out. And now the second piece, same thing, you want the two finished edges pointing outwards. So I'm going to turn this one over so that now the finished edge is pointing to my right. I'm just going to cut that edge off. So what I did is I just cut the very tip of it off, just like you're mitering a corner. I'm just going to make sure nothing's sticking out over the top, and if it is, then you just trim it a hair bit more. Now remember though, turn it over because you want these closed pieces to be facing outward. And again, I'm just going to kind of line it up there on the inside of the edge of the bottom piece, the short piece that's hard to see. Now, one thing I'm doing a little different that she didn't do. Before I close this, I'm opening it. I'm going to open it. I'm actually, I didn't need that on the top. Going to take a clothespin for just a moment and close that bottom. I'm going to go on the inside like so. Close the bottom. See, now my clothespin will fit there. That's what I love about it. So we do have to wait just a moment. that's a little bit thicker. Go ahead and do that. I'm going to remove these. I'm going to actually put them back on there. I just like the bottoms to be like kind of flat. Totally personal preference there. Now, this is the flat. That will go on the inside. And see, this is the part I just don't like. So I'm actually going to cut about 1 inch off of this. And she did this really different. I kind of struggled with it on the last video because I just like mine to be sitting up here. And I cover mine with paper anyway. So what I'm doing is basically where my hinges start there is where I'm going to sit it. So she did hers. Actually, you can even bring it more towards the top. It doesn't matter because you can get a magnet either on the inside or out. Yeah, when you try to shove that in there, I think you might become frustrated. So we're not going to do this that way. And the thing is, I'm going to cover with some pattern paper on the inside anyway. I'm just going to put it down instead of having that big long length. And because it is her tutorial, I didn't want to change a lot. It was nice of her to offer it anyway. But see, now it just, I'm going to line that anyway. Okay, one thing to check is if you put a large magnet, will you be able to get it far enough away from the edge? Is what we want to see, because I do like the magnets. And will it, as long as it's going to leave room to hide it with your pattern paper. If not, you can set it on the inside of the pocket, the back magnet. Sometimes I will put them down underneath there, cover it with paper, because I want to be able to cover it. You need about a finger tip width in order to hide it. Now, if you have any of those scraps left or you need to tear one, tear it, put it, sticky magnet, put it in between. And there we have plenty of room there, plenty of room there. And I'm just going to cover this. My bottom should be okay now. Yep. Now we have our, well, we were calling it the Saucy album. This is the album done by Chibi, and I did the tutorial classes, and then Ginger made famous. Thank you, Ginger. And like I said, I won't be doing any of the decorating on camera, but let's walk through some of the things. Okay, so basically I just took and also matted the back here. I added some of the decorative paper from the Saucy. That was the cut from the cut apart sheet. And then this is the cards that come with Saucy. They're part of the cut aparts. There's glitter everywhere. They're part of the cut aparts. Then you can purchase extras. So I just matted those and stuck them down. Now I have the hiccups. First it was my allergies. Love, love, love everything about the Saucy paper. So I did leave that. And I might put pictures. Oh, we have to make our inserts. All right, we'll still do that. Again, just mat your pockets. This is 2 cut aparts that I just glued together. And we will go ahead and I'll give you the measurements for those. And then we will need the measurements. Oh, I think I put them in another envelope. Oh, here we go. The measurements. See, these are the one of the other cut aparts, and actually this is going the wrong direction. It goes in the front, but it's the same size. So I can give you the measurements for that. And then you can put it in like so, or it can actually fit inside your pocket. And it can stick out however much you want it. So we'll get those measurements. And then you'll just go through, very simple, just matting. You can do some decorating like I did on that album in a box, but like not too much. You don't want a lot of bulky embellishments on this one. And then if you want to make your pocket on the back, I did the faux pocket where you just cut to fit and glue on 3 sides. And there's my little flower from the front. And I did mat all of these hinge sections and see how the cards will fit. And here I just did some layering. I just layered the 2 papers. It was really pretty. There's no pocket there. You can make a pocket if you want to slide things in. Matted here. And then I did mat. See, I matted the inside of my pocket because I didn't do mine where it went all the way in for this either. And then just cut aparts, different things, the stickers for decorations. And there you have the Saucy album. And the second Saucy album, like I said, I made like 5 of them. So let me give you the size of the mats. You'll need to cut 2 of the big ones at 12. And I cut mine 8.5. After I cut them, make sure you're happy with the fit inside of your album, because you may want to trim down just about 1/8 of an inch, or I even made them quite smaller in my album in a box. You can make them any size, but you want them to slide in. And this is a little but it slides so nice with that tape there. It's a little tight, so I'd probably cut mine down to 8 3/8 by 12. It'll all depend just on your construction. It's not the measurements, it's just how it comes together. Where, see, it's even tighter in this page. So yeah, I'd probably go 8 3/8 on this one. And I went 12. Then I scored it. It scored at 5 1/4. Okay, and that's what gave the file folder look. Now, one thing you can do is you can also glue the side shut and make it a real file folder. And then you can just use it as, see, I would glue this side and I would glue that side, and then I could just stick in my recipe cards and things and they wouldn't fall out. So you can do it that way. So once again, 12 inches by 8. Well, this one's 8.5. I'll probably cut mine down to 8 3/8. And then you'll want to score it 5 1/4. And that will give you your look here. Now, once again, for your recipe cards, that's a good fit. Okay, one thing with your recipe cards, you'll notice, see how they stick out a little further? And I like that. So you can make them shorter depending on what you're using. Let's just go this way. Or you can stick them right inside your pocket and have them stick out a little bit. And they're easy to grab. Actually, I'm really excited now to get these albums put together. So these are 12. No, mine are 11 and, well, I cut them down. That's right, 11.5. And then I scored them at 5. No, I cut it after, so ignore that. Ignore that. Let me start clear over at the 12. So cut at 12. by 4 1/8. See how that fits. And then I scored it 6 1/4. So basically I just scored it in half. Now what I ended up doing, after I scored it in half, I did trim the edges off. I made it a little bit smaller. So these are only little over 5 3/4. So you can also, you know, cut them down to be the size that you need. So finally I got it done for you. So this is the recreation of the Saucy. And then so you can put all your things in here. Now you can cut more if you want more to be in here. And see, that will, you've got lots of room to make longer ones into your pocket. And you can make shorter ones like I did. Put these guys back in. And just have fun with it. You know, add more pages if you like. And I hope you really enjoyed the tutorial. I'm sorry I was a little bit out of it here today with the allergies, but I was off to a good start, so they kicked in. Maybe I'm allergic to doing tutorials. No, I'm just kidding. So thank you, everybody, for watching, and enjoy making your folios. And thank Chibi for this. Bye-bye.